Hello Beachy Cove Elementary School, teachers, staff, team. My name is Dominique Hurley and I am an intuitive visionary artist in St. John's, and I will be in your school probably every day for a month starting right after Thanksgiving if all goes as planned. This is the ArtsSmarts project that we were going to do a year or two ago. It was postponed due to COVID, but we're giving it a go this year. So I just wanted to give you an introduction to the project and also to ask for your cooperation in making this a success. It's going to require everyone letting me know what works for your grade. You have a lot more experience with your children, with your grade, and so I'm open to feedback. And this is a project that involves every single class, every single student, and it's Laun Shoemaker's fantastically huge vision that we are going to implement. My part in it is the painting part, the intuitive painting part, but each class and the parents, and there's community involvement. And the final project, the final product, and this is where volunteers also have a big role, the final product is a 500-page PDF booklet that includes 1 page per student with a Newfoundland expression. So this whole book is about Newfoundland sayings. In English, but also in French. These might be Acadian sayings, and yes, I will be teaching those classes that want in French and the others in English. I'm doing this video in English so everyone understands, but I'm perfectly bilingual, so we're gonna do what works for you. So this is the project, a 500-page PDF that will be delivered to all the families, but also to libraries and other places across Newfoundland. And so the goal is to have as many different words and expressions, Newfoundland words and expressions, as possible so that there's not a lot of duplication. Ideally, it'd be great to have 500 different ones. And this is where Lisa is going to be coordinating. So before I even come on board, the collection of Newfoundland sayings, students will have a way, hopefully, to reserve what word they want to work on. And this comes through conversations with their parents, grandparents, neighbors, if they're not originally from here, or to find words that resonate to them and that can be translated through imagery. The second part is the intuitive painting part, where they translate that expression into an image. And this is going to be a group interactive, and so I've read the school measures. Hopefully we can still do this as planned. I'll be working with a couple of classes at a time until we get all the classes done. And what it involves are a few different steps. The whole class as a whole will be painting a big mural that's the size of the number of students time an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So it's going to be one mural, and it's several steps. Once we've got that big mural done, because it's a multi-layer process, and I'm going to explain that in a second, I'll show you an example. After that, I cut those up so that each student gets one piece of paper. And from there, I've designed a gradually more difficult way to approach intuitive painting for each grade so that the looks will be different and that they can play with something that will hopefully inform their art, their creativity for the rest of their life. Once we've got that big mural paper and cut into pieces, then comes the individual places. And so the vision, and this is where hopefully it will work, it's a very messy but fun process. Students definitely need to be dressed from head to toe, and I do mean socks and shoes that parents don't mind getting dirty with permanent paint. And so as they're working on this mural, mark making, dancing, it's an interactive. I'll be entertaining the class as those who are painting are painting. Each student will have turns working with all the different kinds of tools. I've got hundreds of tools for them to work on, work with as they're painting. And we start with, let me give you just a brief introduction. So the first layer of that mural will be warm colored mark makings, and so it's not about doing one big color, it's about all sorts of different marks in warm colors. followed by another layer of cool color mark making on top. I've yet to visit your school, and so the logistics of it need to be ironed out. What it involves is a group coming into this classroom where hopefully I've got 2 or more mural papers attached to the wall and attached to a tarp to protect your floors. And they paint and we do our activity for half an hour, then they go back to their classroom to work with the teacher and volunteers on something that's specific to their grade. And then while that's happening, I'm working with another class on the second paper, because in between layers the paint has to completely dry. And I will admit, I've never worked with such large groups, and these are paints that we ordered with the schools in mind, the non-toxic and different paints that I'm not used to. So the drying time, I want to make sure it works well. So the coordinating of the groups coming in and out, I will definitely need your advice on. But if we can have one room, there's going to be, 12 different things of paint and tools everywhere, and the tools have to dry in between being used, and being disinfected and washed in between. And so I'll probably be working with 2 classes per day, and it might take half an hour in the room painting, going to your classroom to work on part 2, while another class comes in and does the warm mark making. And then they switch back, cool mark making, and in the afternoon cutting. And that we're gonna have to test in the first few days how that timing is. I thank you for your flexibility in trying to make this work in terms of getting big groups in and out of that room with ease and grace. That's what I'm hoping for. And I know there's going to be excitement and mess as well, but even just the hand washing and all that is going to take a long time. So we will sit down once you've watched this video and sort of see what the timing works, how the flow best works, so that it works for you and for the kids and for me, so that it works for everybody. They've got their word. With the teachers in the classrooms, they're going to be having discussions about what their sayings mean or what their words mean and how they can translate that in one symbol. But for example, if they're doing a weather thing, this would be the kindergarten one, where they're just putting the object that they've cut in the classroom with the teacher, and everybody's going to have a different object. Maybe their parents will have helped them draw the outline of a duck, if it's like maducky or matrout, a fish with 2 fish kissing, who knows. It'll be up to the student to come up with an idea of how to visually represent it. Once they have that one shape, they can put it on, and just for the kindergarten students, they're either just going to sponge white around it or with a paintbrush around it. So it's basically a with the colors in the background. So that will be for the kindergarten and pre-kindergartens. For the grade 1s, they might already have their shape that they had cut with their parents or in the classroom, that they've drawn and that they've cut a shape that represents their word or expression. Then they'll put it on top of their colored paper and cut it out so that they have their colored figure or colored fish or colored whatever, put it on a white piece of paper, and then they can draw around it something that represents their word and expression. So that's grade 1. Grade 2, we're getting a little more complicated, where they're going to do sort of a decoupage, where they're going to take their one sheet of paper and they're going to cut something that makes a design. And here I can see, just looking at the video screen as I'm recording, that it would have been better to outline it in white, but they can do that after too, so that they have a shape that means what they want on colored cardstock. They can choose their color, they can choose their design. And then we've got grade 3, which we're working more with contrast. So that's where they're going to be adding to their colored background white and black to create a design. And for example, here I just have a spider web and a spider. So that's just painted on top, black and white, of the colored background that they're each gonna have. And grade 4, that's where we get into more complicated, where I'm going to teach about glazing, and where they're going to do a much more complicated painting where you can still see the same colored background and behind, but they're going to build their image on top of that. So all that will be done on mural paper cut up so that they each get a paper of their size. Then this is where Laun saw a team of volunteers coming in and doing the scanning of all 500 pages, as well as putting the student's name underneath it and the grade, as well as the expression, and that could be done digitally, and under the expression also possibly what the expression means, and from there will be delivered and distributed to the libraries, to parents, and hopefully you've got some real techie people on board to do the digitizing of this booklet. So my role as your ArtsSmart artist for the month will be to help with the painting of the mural and the creation of the individual pieces. But as you can see, there are a lot of moving parts in this project. Laun's original vision had great teams of volunteers, also great involvement with the community and parents. So this is still the vision that I hold in mind, and Lisa and I will get together to discuss more once she receives feedback from you for what would work best for your class. In terms of timing, in terms of whether or not it's feasible to do that kind of decoupage for your grade, and that kind of thing. So this is where I leave you for now, just to give you a brief introduction of the project, and I look forward to meeting all of you and to working with all of you and to having fun with you and your kids, and hopefully encouraging great creativity for years and decades to come for them, as well as increasing our awareness of Newfoundland sayings, which will be great for me too. You can also find on my website at dominiquehurley.com a free guide to intuitive painting, where you can see lots and lots of photos of the process. I have done this in schools across Newfoundland and Labrador in French, and but this was with groups of 12 maximum, each working on an individual piece versus the big mural on a wall. And so you can see examples of the step-by-step and what students produced, and just to get a better idea, a better feel of what the intuitive painting process is, just check out my website, dominiquehurley.com. Under free resources, go to Guide to Intuitive Painting. And if you have any questions, shoot them to Lisa or shoot them to me. It'd be my pleasure to help. See you soon.